Depression isn't linear. It's not a simple concept. I used to think it was a very straight line from I'm depressed, let me go to therapy, and then I'll be fixed. Depression is a never-ending battle against yourself. It's constantly fighting yourself on what's right and what's wrong and the blurred lines and the gray areas of life. That's why it's very easy to get sucked into a suicidal state of mind. When you're depressed, when you're in that spiral, you can't differentiate between wanting your situation to end and wanting your life to end. When something is going wrong in your life, or when everything seems to be going wrong in life, it's very easy to think, I want my life to end. And it's something that's really hard to deal with and to cope with. And what's even worse is that when you start to deal with it, and when you start learning these mechanisms of reframing and making your life more positive and this and that, it's a constant battle between yourself, and it's exhausting. It's insanely exhausting because your old self is telling you, stay in your comfort zone, like this is what you're comfortable in. Yeah, you've been depressed your whole life, but it's comfortable. You don't want to go out with those happy people. Being happy is hard. Being happy takes so much more than being sad. It's so much harder to be happy because you have to look for it and you have to work for it. Depression is something that is dealt with on a day-to-day basis, but it's something that you can deal with. My boss always says that you have your buttons that can be pushed, but they're the same buttons for the rest of your life. So you can work on them. You can work on dealing with them and coping with them and learning ways to better yourself. And I went from having a mentality of woe is me, my life sucks, I should just kill myself, to changing everything around me, changing myself, and dealing with depression. It's easy to fight it when you begin to realize that you are more powerful than depression. There are so many ways to cope and to get better. Therapy is a big thing. I really wish everyone went to therapy at least at one point in their lives, because even if you're not struggling with depression, even if you don't seem to be struggling with anything, you can always improve yourself, and therapy is such a big way of doing that. Not only can you learn how to better yourself, you learn so much. You learn to listen, you learn to cope, you learn to be healthy. We can't deal with emotional pain the same way that we deal with physical pain. With physical pain, you put your hand on the stove, your brain tells you, ouch, that hurts, so you take it off the stove. But emotional pain is a lot more complicated than that. You can't just tell your heart, stop hurting. With emotional pain, you have to go through it so you can grow through it. Pain is probably the biggest catalyst for growth there is, but we don't realize that. The best thing that you can do for yourself is work on yourself. You realize that there are so many ways to make yourself happy that when you're depressed, you choose not to focus on. I realized that nothing in my life has really changed other than me to make me happy. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many different mechanisms and ways to make yourself happy. You can reframe your whole situation, change the way that you look at things, choose to focus on the good. There's positive affirmations, there are people who help you, there are good books and videos and resources that help. Just by changing your vocabulary, when I'm having a good day and people ask me how are you, I say I'm great. When I'm having a not so good day and people ask me how I am, I say good instead of saying bad, because at least you're still keeping it positive. There are so many things that you can do to cope with your depression and to fight it and to deal with it and to be okay with it. At the end of the day, when you realize that it's not something that's going to go away, but it's definitely something that you can deal with, that gives you hope. And to me, hope is the one thing that keeps everyone going. You realize that you live a beautiful life, and that no matter what you deal with or how you cope with it, it's going to be okay. And there's hope, and there's happiness, and there's beauty in everything. And I think that's pretty cool. So I hope this video shed some light on those who don't really know how depression works or have never gone through it, and helps you understand better how to help those who do. And for those who are going through it, I hope it gives you hope.